comics are stupid.
No Harry Potter movie is good.
And you're like, give me the Snyder Cut.
Oh, sorry, just walk in front of you here. Gonna put my popcorn down. Oh, sorry, gotta put this here.
Universal needs to sue Sony.
Hey, I'm an idiot. I was fired from Fox. Let me go.
I'd like actually to see Venom just crush Spider-Man.
Hello everyone, so I'm back today, and I'm going to be talking about this Loki episode 2, I think it's called Variant. So, I want to jump to the end of this, because this is the part that I want to really talk about, then I'll talk about the concepts, but oh my goodness, I have theories. Okay, so let's start the theories, and spoilers, yada yada. Okay, so, we have this character. We don't know who the identity of this character is. Now, there's two ways you can look at this. Obviously, Lady Loki being the first one. And if that's true, then I was fully correct in that prediction last time. Now, if not, there's another way you can go about it. Because, of course, I know there were people pointing this out as that in the credits, the character is named, I think it's like Sylvie or Sylvie or something like that. And who is, of course, the Enchantress, or a version of the Enchantress, a younger version, someone who's blonde as well, by the way, who was given powers by Loki. So, there are two ways you can look at this, and this is how I view this, right? The similarities to the Enchantress are extremely prevalent, okay? And my first kind of theory, I guess, on this episode is kind of that, look, you know, this person will be the Enchantress, and this as a kind of a decoy for some other version of Loki, maybe a classic kind of version of Loki, or something like that, which will kind of be the mastermind behind all this, or just some version of Loki is actually the real kind of mastermind. And the other way it could go about is that this is actually Lady Loki and also the Enchantress, in terms of the fact that they've kind of changed the Enchantress's story to being a variant of the original Loki, or I guess of the variant Loki, or whatever the case may be, right? And I think those are two ways you can go about it in terms of what's going to happen. I think either of those ways work, because I think that this person being kind of a decoy for Loki would be just really good in terms of, it would just be a really interesting way to go about it, right? Because you kind of building, and then you kind of build up to kind of there being a real villain. But the second way you can go about it, which is another possibility, of course, which I was talking about before, was this idea that they're kind of combining two characters and kind of giving you this new character who can still exist in this world and kind of, you know, be impactful later on. I think that's something else they can do, which would be interesting. Now, the other option, I guess there's really a third option, which is Marvel's too smart at this, and they've actually made the credits misleading on purpose, which is a possibility. I don't know if that's true, but it is possible that Marvel is misleading us in terms of making us believe this is not Lady Loki, when in fact it will turn out to be Lady Loki or something, and they're just trying to play with us saying, oh, maybe it isn't, or, you know, maybe she plays two characters, one of which is Lady Loki and one of which is the Enchantress, right? And you could have that, right? So there's so many ways, because Marvel's very good at kind of misleading us, so I mean, it's very possible that was intentionally put there, for another reason. And now the other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of this episode, which was fantastic, by the way, was the chaos created by this person, and the timelines. So the first timeline, the alterations to the timeline, in specific, are Vormir, are Asgard, and are Rome, okay? I don't know, maybe Vormir and Asgard are the more important ones, but yeah, Vormir, of course, being the place where the Soul Stone was, where, Natasha died, Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow died, and where Gamora died, and where Red Skull was. So there are so many reasons why, or so many things that can occur with that, including, of course, Black Widow not ending up dead. Now, the second option, or the second thing, is Asgard. Now, Asgard in 2004. Okay, now I want to actually check something which just kind of came to my head now, which is, when did Thor 1 come out? I mean, it wasn't 2004. I mean, I'm trying to think. So would it had to, yeah, because it would have been 2011. So we're assuming this is based off the real timeline, which, I mean, if you look at, okay, so Vormir was 2030, so that's later. So if this is based off real years, kind of like how Marvel was at the beginning, which is hard to know now, it's possible that this is something that took place prior. We're going to see something in terms of, because I'm assuming they have to go prune off the timelines at the kind of end of the show going forward. They're going to have to, there may be something we get to see prior to Thor 1 in regards to Loki and Thor growing up, or Loki growing up, which could actually give us some insight as well, which would be interesting to see. Right, because this would mean, again, assuming we're going off to real time, 2004 would have been a good, what, did be like 5-6 years? So I think that could be, 6 years prior to Thor 1. It'd be interesting to see what happens. When it comes to Vormir in 2030, I don't remember when Endgame takes place specifically, and when Infinity War because of that timeline weird, like off the top of my head, at least I don't remember. But it is possible that could have something to do with Black Widow's death and the returning, or something to do with the returning of the stone, or something that just took place later on, right? Because of course, when these timelines are branched off, is important, because that I guess the trigger event which created the timeline break, right, the Nexus event, or whatever the case may be, needs to be significant. So it needs to be something that will impact the MCU, and I think all of these events will end up being significant. The Lisbon one, the Thornton one, the Cookville one, the Asgard one, and the Rome one will all be kind of important. I'm just trying to see if there's any other kind of dates which will kind of right away strike something. But I don't think there are. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, that was, I think, a very interesting part, as well as I assume they'll have to go and look at, see what happens here. But it'll be interesting. And also, the other thing which happened in the show, and by the way, this show really does introduce Marvel's coolest concept ever. Like, in all the MCU movies, everything they've done, from, arc reactors to Hulk, to even the time travel in Endgame, to do, everything else they've done, Wakanda, this is by far the coolest concept Marvel has ever introduced in their films. The way this is done is just so perfect, not too complicated, not like confusing complicated, just so simple, and it works so well. Now, I'm interested to see what other events throughout the timeline are considered Nexus events, right? And because I assume, and going forward, obviously, because I feel like Nexus events will be something which will end up happening more. And I think Kang will kind of have something to do with that, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with that as well. But overall, I really love this. Now, what are your theories in terms of this? Let me know down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Just tell me down below, what do you think is going to happen? Who is this character, this Lady Loki / Enchantress? And tell me all that information down below. Who are you, who do you want it to be? Who do you think it'll be? And what's kind of the whole thing that's going to happen here? And then maybe, who knows? Let's see if anyone's right. Maybe tell me what you think, and you end up being right. Who knows what can happen? So yeah, let me know down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share your thoughts, follow us on social media. And all that stuff, and see y'all next time. Bye.